whoever ends up hosting, bring on next May. I'm done! After months of working on this comprehensive and up-to-date guide on where Eurovision is being hosted next year, I can finally sit down and relax. What the f***? So, I wasn't gonna release a follow-up to my video on the race to host Eurovision in UK, but even before the top 2 was announced, I did feel like I sort of shortchanged Liverpool by focusing on its more popular neighbour instead. Now that we know that it's Glasgow versus Liverpool, I'm kicking myself to not committing to the prediction sooner. So, here's a quick redux version of my first video while I work on some other stuff. But before we get to the top 2, we've got 5 more cities to say goodbye to. Yeah, I'm doing this joke again. This is its own section now because they're really similar and I can't be bothered to repeat myself. Between the Hydro and Arenas Bank Arena, both were built in the last 20 years and successfully hosted the MTV Europe Music Awards in their first year. Both are located right in the city centre on the banks of a major river, and both are one of 3 venues within a larger complex. The Hydro is in the SEC along with the SECC, which can hold the press centre and the delegation bubble, and there's also the Armadillo, which could have whatever use they can come up with, like the opening ceremony or the green room. The Bank is part of the ACC and shares a building with the convention centre, perfect for the delegation bubble. That convention centre then connects via bridge to a separate exhibition centre, which could be used for the press centre. The ACC also shares its space with a pair of hotels, which could be reserved for artists and delegates to make getting them to the venue and providing security for them a breeze. What Liverpool's venue doesn't have, however, is the headquarters for BBC Scotland just across the river from it. Glasgow having a bunch of production facilities so close to the venue is a massive plus, though it's worth remembering that Liverpool is closer to the Eurovision team's current base in Salford. I mean, it's in the next city over, but that's still closer. Anyway, what about the main halls of the arenas themselves? Well, on paper Glasgow has a larger capacity at 14,500 versus Liverpool's rather tiny 11,000, and it has a larger floor space too at 4,000 metres squared over 3,400 metres squares at Liverpool. What gives me slight reservations is the beautiful and unique round amphitheatre style layout of the Hydro. If the team needs to split up the arena to make extra room for backstage components, they're going to be taking out more of the Hydro space than they would for the other one's more traditional narrow layout. They also might not be able to pull cameras back as far for wide shots, or no, actually think about it, that might be a good thing. Of course, keep in mind I have no idea what I'm talking about or what the production team have in mind for the stage design, so they may have already thought this through. Oh, extra point, Hydro is in the Netflix movie and it has lights on the outside to display the flag of the performing country. On the other hand, Liverpool has a Ferris wheel. Okay, I think that's it, let's move on to the cities now.
We shall be known simply as the Beatles!
As a UNESCO City of Music, Liverpool loves to bang on about its musical heritage, mainly off the back of the Beatles. They even named their airport after one of them. They also have Manchester Airport nearby to increase capacity. Both airports are connected to the city centre by bus, and the one Liverpool bus station in the city centre provides services even further afield. Irish Eurofans can even come via boat, with ferries connecting the city to both Dublin and Belfast. Also direct trains to Manchester, Birmingham and London city centres, and the Merseyrail metro system, home to the oldest deep level stations in the world, and the first to be accessed by lift. Opened in 1886 as the terminus of the Mersey Railway Tunnel and converted into a through station in 1892 with the opening of Liverpool Central, James Street Station. Just down the riverfront from the ACC campus is the Royal Albert Dock, filled with all sorts of museums to explore. There's the Beatles Experience, the Tate Liverpool, the Maritime Museum and the International Slavery Museum, which takes a more solemn look at the maritime legacy of both Liverpool and the UK as a whole. There's also a water park! Just beyond there, you can cross the swingy bridge to the Museum of Liverpool and yet another art space with the Open Eye Gallery. On this end of the waterfront is Pier Head, with a pier for boats for the Isle of Man, in addition to a large plaza space overlooked by a statue of the Beatles and the British Music Experience. It would be the perfect place for the Eurovillage to take place. The area around the waterfront, steeped in history as it is, would also be the perfect location for the red, blue, whatever carpet and the opening ceremony. After a day of exploring the museums, you may be pleased to hear that Liverpool also serves up some brilliant nightlife. There's tons of pubs and bars to discover, with the largest being the Electric Warehouse near Central Station. This massive 3-floor venue has more than enough space to hold a boatload of press and accredited fans to Euro club it up. Overall, Liverpool is a warm and inviting city, known for welcoming all with open arms and standing up for what is right. As the twin city of Odessa, they would be more than capable of putting on a fantastic show on behalf of Ukraine. It may have entered this race as an underdog, but it has more than enough to make it a worthy competitor to Glasgow. Speaking of which, here's the Glasgow bit, mostly the same as before, and just like last time, this section was mainly written by my mate Callum, who provided a ton of local knowledge, so thanks to him yet again. Glasgow has been top of the odds since the very beginning, and it is still holding strong. Let's start with transport again. Glasgow has 2 airports. The main one is served by a regular bus route to the city centre, while the smaller Glasgow Prestwick is about an hour away on ScotRail. There are also plenty of regular connections to Edinburgh, which for many may be cheaper and more convenient to fly into. Beyond just Edinburgh, Glasgow Central provides rail connections to most of the UK throughout the day. Night bus enjoyers like Callum can also express themselves nationally to and from Buchanan bus station in the heart of the city centre. Within the city centre is the Glasgow Metro's admittedly quite limited single line, backed up by a slightly more extensive network of buses and suburban rail services. This of course includes the Hydro, which is served by its own train station and multiple bus routes, with even more being added during the recent COP26 summit. Surely that's something for the powers that be to consider for this event too. Now, despite its grey reputation, Glasgow is one of the most vibrant and socially progressive places in the UK, and the people pride themselves on being incredibly friendly and welcoming, especially after a few drinks. The comparatively cheap prices, the city's cosmopolitan nature and the whole array of things to do make for an unforgettable night out. Put it this way, you're unlikely to find someone who prefers the nightlife in Edinburgh. I'm taking Callum's word on this one. Eurofans will be glad to know that Glasgow's gay scene is well and truly alive, with a wide array of bars and venues all having their individual charms and flairs. Just down the road from the Hydro is one of the largest and most beloved venues in Glasgow, the SWG3, which has more than enough capacity to host an onslaught of Eurovision aficionados at the Euro Club. And there's even more to explore during the day. The West End's Victorian era buildings are home to a plethora of chic independent shops, cafes and bars, with the Great Western Road in particular having been recently named the coolest street in the UK by Time Out. With the glorious green spaces of Kelvin Grove Park and the Botanic Gardens nearby, it's a beautiful area to spend the day. Plus there's the Kelvin Grove Art Galleries, the Gallery of Modern Art, the Riverside Museum and the newly renovated People's Palace, which are all beautiful places to delve into Glaswegian and world history for free. In the south of the city and easily accessible by all available modes of transport is Pollock Country Park, which would be an idyllic, classy and simply gorgeous place to host the opening ceremony. There's plenty of space and room for delegates and spectators alike, with Pollock House in the middle of the park providing a beautiful interior for glamorous photo shoot moments just like the Palace of Venario did in Turin. Or they could just hold it by the SEC with everything else, that'd work too. As for the Euro Village, Glasgow Green is a lovely central location that has previously hosted fan zones for events such as the 2014 Commonwealth Games and the 2020 Euros, in addition to the annual Festival. Overall, Glasgow would be a fantastic host, and for me, just edges out Liverpool to be my #1 pick. Though of course I'd be happy with either, but in the end the choice still ain't up to me. And the BBC are due to visit the nominated cities and their venues again this week. We will then likely find out the result later this month. Now, at this point in the last video I widely speculated about the hosts, but now we have some news. It's not Graham Norton. When asked about the show on This Morning, he revealed that he doesn't dare leave the commentary box for fear of everyone liking Ryan's commentary way more than his. But if one of the BBC's Eurovision faces has ruled himself out, I think they're gonna be straight on the phone to the others. So I'm calling it now. Mel, Rylan and Timur. Mel will provide the charm and the French, Rylan will cozy up with the performance in the green room, and Timur will provide the gravitas and of course rep his home country of Ukraine. That should be it for now. I cannot wait for this Eurovision season to properly kick off and for us to finally find out where to book hotel rooms in. And I hope we can all go on this journey together. If you want to hear my wilder takes on the host, thoughts on the rest of the shortlist and more, then check out the original version of this video. I also make shorts now. Click here to see some of my thoughts on who should represent Slovenia and Belgium next year. I really want to keep doing this stuff, so be sure to like and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you later.